Hey, it's Brian. My after action reports just came in. I'm a big fan of these books. If you're a fan of G.I. Joe comics, I think you should be too. But I want to take you down and get you a closer look and really dig into these and show you why they're so awesome.
Yo, Joe. Talking comics, here's your host. It's A Real American Brian.
Hey, I wanted to make a video looking at the G.I. Joe After Action Report books. I've had Volume 1 since it was shipped after the first Kickstarter, and have used it a lot as a resource for details on books, and really enjoyed reading through it. Just recently received Volume 2, and here are some of the extras you get with the Kickstarter. Nice little letter, dog tag with the After Action Report image on it, and a little advertisement for Volume 3, which the Kickstarter for that has finished up. I'm sure you can get in as a late backer, though, and get that. That will be covering the IDW era of Real American Hero. Then you get this cool field manual. So this information is all inside the book, but this is a checklist that you can take with you and kind of check off all the issues that you have or what you need to complete your full run. And it also has this cool first appearance key that I use a lot. That tells you all the first appearances in all the books. And again, this is all information that's in the book, but this is a nice paper copy so you don't have to mess up your book or carry the book around with you. And you get a cool cover print. This is the back cover and the front cover, which was done by Josh Blaylock. And then a line version of it. So yeah, you should get some cool little extras. The extras for Volume 1 were pretty similar, but mine are all put up and put away. I've had them for quite a while. But let's get into Volume 1 and see what it has. Volume 1 is the Marvel era. So it covers all the books from the Marvel years, but not just the Marvel books. It covers any books that really came out between 82 and 96. So it covers the 3D comics and some of the other stuff that was coming out during that time. Each book is more than just a picture of covers. Volume 1 starts off with a really great interview section, including a nice lengthy one by Larry Hama. And there's another one with Rod Whigham as well. It's really cool. But getting into the checklist portion of the book, there's little keys that tell you all the different cover variations that there were, if there were multiple printings, price variations, and whether there was a Mark Jewelers option or not for that issue. Then when you get to issue 21, there's a nice big article on that, and the history of the book, the making of issue 21, and the mystery of the second printing of issue 21. So lots of cool information there to read through. And there's another article later on for the Todd McFarlane issue 61 that became G.I. Joe Special. But overall, just some really cool pictures of all the covers so you can kind of see what you're missing, and then some information on the comic itself as well. The cover artist, the interior artist, and the writer, which doesn't change a whole lot, but occasionally. And all the credits, the dates of the release, all the basic stuff that you would need to know. It's a pretty extensive resource. Along with the A Real American Hero main title, you get the special missions and the yearbooks. And as I mentioned before, the G.I. Joe books that aren't necessarily Marvel books, but also there's a special section for G.I. Joe appearing in other Marvel titles. So bringing G.I. Joe into the Marvel universe in a way. And then there's also sections for the European mission books and Action Force in general. So you get some cool Action Force content in there, along with the G.I. Joe Transformer crossovers, a little bit of everything. I mean, it's very extensive. The volume, one of the other cool things they do is the border color around the books lets you know which continuity those books go into. So if you're only interested in the Real American Hero ones, I think those are black borders. So you can just focus on those if you want, or it's a visual reference. When you turn the page, you're like, oh, these are a little bit different for some reason. But yeah, it also covers the 2 Dark Horse series. And in the back of the book is a checklist like that one that I showed you the paper version of. So there's the first appearance key for all the different issues. and then the checklist. And the checklist has the different printings, different cover variations, and everything there. So you can check it all off and make sure that you have everything. But yeah, it's super cool. I've used it a lot. I flip through and get the first appearance key and probably the credits for the different issues. Probably the things that I look at the most. But it's been awesome. I've read through it quite a bit and really enjoy it. That is Volume 1. And then recently we just got Volume 2. And this is the Devil's Due era. So this is 2001 to 2008. And you start off this volume with some more interviews, including a lengthy one that's continued at multiple points in the book from Josh Blaylock. And there is no way that you could begin this book without some Josh Blaylock references, because he was basically the man behind the whole Devil's Due era. So it's awesome to see some information from him, getting a nice interview from the horse's mouth, I guess. Along with the images of the covers in this one, you do get pages with extra information thrown in, some character spotlights, and some characters that were introduced in the Devil's Due era, and things that were different, so that's pretty cool. And there's other interviews throughout the book besides just the Josh Blaylock. You get a Brandon Jerwa and Larry Hama, which are both really interesting that I was looking forward to reading. And they've done a really good job getting appropriate people interviewed for these books that were involved with the books during that era. So it's nice to get that insight and little extra tidbits there. Every Joe title Devil's Due produced is covered here, along with some of the odd stuff, the gijoe manga, the Inferno comic that I didn't know anything about until reading about it here. There's another great article in this volume showing how some of the books from this era were the inspiration for some of the G.I. Joe movies, whether they were credited or not. One of the later sections of the volume I was really looking forward to was the coverage of the multi-pack toy prints and the 25th anniversary original stories. Those are issues that I collected, and it is nice to have a resource to be able to confirm I have all of them. But along with those books produced by Hasbro, they also cover the fun publishing comics that were given out at conventions. So I think this is the first place that I know of that has like a full list of those that you can track and make sure you have all those. And just like the first volume, and I showed you before with the printed pullout you get with the Kickstarter, it has a checklist in the back and a first appearance reference key. But just packed full of information, just like the first one again. You have the story credits and little synopsises, where it fits in, and the different cover variations. But yeah, so super excited to get into that. I still need to finish reading through it, but so far I'm having a blast with it. And that is After Action Report Volume 2. The After Action Report Volume 3 is the IDW era, and it just finished up its Kickstarter. But definitely go see if you could become a late backer on it. That's going to cover the Larry Hama continuity of the IDW era, not necessarily the other separate books. But some of them, I think it's going to cover some of the other random little things too. So G.I. Joe versus $6 Million Man, and some of the crossover series are going to be covered in there, but not a complete IDW publishing, mostly just the A-Raw books. But that Kickstarter finished soon. Currently, there's another Kickstarter for the After Action Report command files. That volume focuses on like a full character guide. So you get introduced to the character with some cool artwork. And then it talks about their first appearances in all kinds of different media, in the comics, the cartoons, anywhere else. So really neat. So that's currently going on, so definitely go and back that if you can. And I'll try to have links down below for their website where you can order the volumes that are done and the Kickstarters that are currently going on, so you can back them now. Overall, if you can't tell by now, I'm a big fan of the After Action Reports, and I look forward to each new volume that I get. I'm sure I'll be doing videos on the other books as they arrive, but I encourage you to go get your own copies if you're into the G.I. Joe comics. It's really an amazing resource, and you are missing out if you don't get them. So definitely check out After Action Report. Thanks.
That was a real American Brian. And now you know, because knowing is half the Brian.